UFC 295 saw England gain its third ever UFC champion as Tom Aspinall beat Sergei Pavlovich in emphatic fashion to win the Interim Heavyweight Championship. The Salford man has been on a tear since joining the company, and it seemed like only a matter of time before he got his hands on gold, and now he finally has it. Coming into the fight, many expected the toughest battle of Aspinall's career so far, with Pavlovich running through the UFC roster up until the fight. The two men were regarded as the most dangerous in the heavyweight division, so opinions were divided on who would win, but the Englishman quickly settled any debates and knocked his opponent out in just over a minute. The duo were fighting for the Interim Heavyweight Championship after the current Undisputed Champion Jon Jones was forced out of his title fight with Stipe Miocic due to an injury. It remains unclear whether the plan will be to rebook the originally scheduled showdown or whether Jones will instead take on Aspinall now in a bid to unite the two belts. If they do go down that road, after his performance at UFC 295, Aspinall will certainly have a few more people who believe he's capable of taking down one of the greatest fighters of all time. Heading into the bout, there were many who expected Pavlovich to come out on top, and for good reasons. The Russian was coming off the back of 6 first-round wins in the UFC, and with a record of 18-1, there were few who had been quite as dominant as he had been over the last few years. Aspinall had been on a tear himself, though, finishing all but one of his UFC victories in the very first round as well. In terms of lethal warriors, there aren't two more dangerous than these two, so it was no surprise when this one also ended quickly, but it was the Englishman who had his arm raised. After a few brief exchanges that saw Pavlovich land a hook that momentarily phased the 30-year-old, he finally landed the money shot that dropped his opponent and finished him with several brutal shots on the ground. The referee quickly stepped in, handing Aspinall the victory after just 69 seconds, and the celebrations were wild. Michael Bisping, a former UFC champion in his own right, was in attendance and was clearly over the moon with the performance. Another man who was thrilled with the Englishman's win was boxing superstar Tyson Fury, who reached out with a very wholesome message for the champ on Instagram after the fight. After Aspinall's victory, Fury took to Instagram and shared a video message showing how happy he was for the fighter and congratulated him. The boxing superstar was clearly over the moon, and his excitement about the victory was apparent for all to see. Speaking to the camera, he said, "Hi guys, just want to say a massive shout out to my brother, Tom Aspinall, the new UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world." He went on to mention Aspinall's class and wished him and his family well following the fight. His pride was apparent, and the Englishman has now become the third fighter from the country to win UFC gold, following Bisping's run as the UFC middleweight champion and Leon Edwards, who is currently the UFC welterweight champion.